Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're a new visitor, welcome for the first time. Um, if you like what you see in here, please give a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. So today I'm going to go through some of the matches that happened yesterday as well as my picks for these upcoming quarterfinals. But what I really want to do is focus on Roger Federer. And let me just say as a disclaimer that I am a huge Roger Federer fan. I want nothing more than to see him win more majors and to, hold on to that major record forever and lock everyone out. I've followed his career forever, and I know he has to retire eventually, but I want to see him go out on a high. With that said, this Australian Open, despite the fact that Roger is in the semifinal, it's been shaky for Roger, and it's kind of made me nervous. I know people have predicted the death of Roger's career over and over for the last 7 or 8 years, and somehow he finds a way to come back, and that's part of what makes him a true champion. But something about this tournament, we've just seen just really unusual, sloppy play from Roger, and he's human. He's allowed to make some mistakes. We had that third round match where I forget if he had match points against him, but he basically was pushed to a fifth set by John Millman, someone who had beaten him in the past, but you would think he could figure out and learn how to beat. And Roger was down 4-8 in a super tiebreak and somehow magically, pulled a Houdini and won the next 6 points. And it happens a lot in in tournaments where maybe early on a player has a really sort of low performance in a match and they're down match point, and then they win, and that turns everything around. They just go sort of storming through the rest of the draw. But Roger had another huge and kind of weird hiccup with his quarterfinal match against Tennis Sandgren. I didn't get to watch it all live, but I saw the first 2 sets and saw the highlights afterward. Roger was broken a lot, was getting frustrated a lot, just hitting really unusual bad errors. Kind of let his emotions get to him. We think of Roger as being sort of cool as a cucumber, never has outbursts, but there was one point where he cursed and he got a code violation, and then got into an argument with the chair umpire and sort of, I don't want to call it intimidation, but questioned the lines judge who reported that he had cursed. And I don't know, I think he was being very petty. Of course there was huge pressure on him, and he was probably saying to himself, I cannot believe I'm down 2-1 and that I'm playing this poorly. Like I said, he's human. We're all human. We all have outbursts. We all say things we regret. And then, there were 7 match points against him, both, I think, in the 4th and 5th set. He could have gone out in the 4th set, somehow managed to hang on. Sorry, I take that back. It was all in the 4th set. He could have gone out when he was serving at 4-5 and then also in the tiebreaker. Tennis Sandgren played great, although he did obviously let the nerves get to him because he had all those opportunities to win the match and did not convert any of them. So anyway, this is all to say that I think Roger has been really lucky to get past his third round opponent John Millman and his quarterfinal opponent Tennis Sandgren. But I have to say that he does not have a chance in hell against Novak Djokovic. Novak is just way too solid. Novak is not going to buckle under the pressure. So, I'm happy that Roger got this far. I mean, he himself said, I did not deserve to win that match, talking about the quarterfinal. He knew that he lucked out and that he just won the right points. I even think Sandgren won more total points in that match. So anyway, I would, not really a betting man, but I would comfortably bet that Djokovic is going to win their semifinal match. And it just gets me thinking about Roger and his legacy, his place in the sport. I mean, he's been number 3 for a long time behind Novak and Rafa, save for when he won the Australian Open and Wimbledon. I think he might have jumped to number 2. But I just wonder, is that good enough for Roger? Is it good enough to be number 3 of the big 3? I'm sure everyone asks him this, when are you going to retire? What's your plan? And even if he has a plan, I know he's not telling us, but it's a problem that very few of us have, that very few of us are lucky to have, but that's to decide when it's right to bow out. Roger would be the first to admit he's past his prime. He's never going to be as good as he was when he was 25. But the question is, how much longer do you stretch it? And will there be a moment where it's uncomfortable, where we see him losing early consistently, and it just feels like he's a shadow of his former self? Is there some goal he's going for, like one more major or an Olympic medal? I think Pete Sampras probably did this at the best. He was definitely on the decline, had been doing really poorly, and then just decided like he was going to play the US Open for a final time. He trained really hard, and he went out. I should say he won, and then he promptly retired. And Pete Sampras was a lot younger than Roger is. He was, I think, 31, maybe 32. Anyway, so yeah, I just, I love Roger, and he will always be the greatest of all time. But I just feel like he deserves to have our final memories of him on the court be good ones, not sloppy ones, not embarrassing ones for him. So, yeah, that's my prediction, is that he will not survive Novak. And, I think we may start hearing retirement discussions even louder soon. So anyway, let's go on to the matches scheduled for tonight. So yesterday we had 2 of the men's quarterfinals, 2 of the women's quarterfinals, and now we're going to have the remainder. First off, we have Kontaveit, who's kind of a surprise. I mean, she is a very good player. She was in the top 15 at one point. She sort of slipped, had not a great year last year. And then there's Halep, who's, looking great. She's her usual consistent self. Look, nobody expected Kontaveit to get this far, so she could certainly advance even further, but Halep is just the one I'm leaning to. I think it would be amazing if she could win. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago she won the French. Last year she won Wimbledon. Wouldn't that be great if in 2020 she started it off winning Australia? Muguruza and Pavlyuchenkova, also players that I don't think anyone imagined getting this far. Pavlyuchenkova is seeded. Muguruza is not. Both were just doing okay as of last year. But I just feel like Muguruza is the real comeback story here. So I'm going to give her the edge. Then we get to Wawrinka and Zverev, also 2 players, despite being both top 15 and seeded. I don't think anyone envisioned them getting this far, especially Zverev, who has just had a miserable record at the majors. And I think I alluded in an earlier video to kind of the joke, the sort of the silliness of him saying, if I win it all, I'll donate all my prize money, almost like in the back of his mind, he knew he wouldn't. But hey, he's now just a few matches away from that. So we'll see. I also wonder, let's say he did win it all. Would he try to get cute and say, okay, well, I'm going to donate my after-tax winnings, and then, of course, have to pay out my agent and, all the people on my team? Would he kind of use some creative arithmetic and creative accounting, or would he just donate that whole check? I certainly hope he would donate everything. Anyway, I think Wawrinka has been really strong, and I think he's going to win, I say, in 4 sets. And then Nadal team. This has certainly been a great rivalry, both at Roland Garros and 2 years ago at the US Open. Team in the first set really made Nadal look like an amateur, and then Nadal somehow came back and won it in 5. So I feel like on a hard court, these two are pretty even. But my crystal ball tells me that it's going to Nadal. So those are my choices for today's play at the Australian Open. Again, if you liked what you heard and saw, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more tennis content and other surprise content. Appreciate it, guys. Take care.